This podcast is going to show you how to create a QAPP in print form or export your completed QAPP or any part that you've done so far into a Word document or an Adobe document, because for whatever reason you want to edit it in Word, for example, or you want to see how it looks printed out at this point. So you don't have to be finished completely. Let's say I'm only at 25%. I can print out what I've done so far. All the elements that I haven't worked on are just going to show up as headers with a blank space underneath them. So to do that, I go up to the top menu bar and click Report, and that opens up a whole new dialog box. That takes a little while. And the dialog box looks like this. There are three parts of it. If you're working on more than one pollutant at a time, they'll be listed over here. If you've got only one, like I am right now in this project, you click this box. You have to make sure that there are check marks next to the pollutant that you want to see a printed report for. And then down here, there are all these categories under the QAPP. So the main QAPP is QAPP for pollutant monitoring, and that's just whatever pollutant you've checked in the box above, and that's all the text. And so it uses a program called Crystal Reports, and then it's shown in the right-hand panel. And you can see that with the material that we've added and all the blank headers, we have 39 pages. Now, the other items over here in the left panel are all the tables, and the reason that they're separately listed is because they're all in landscape format. So, for example, if you want to just look at the critical criteria table, you can see that that pulls up in landscape format, and that's the same for any of these tables, including the lovely equations, table 14-4. So let's say we want to export our text, and you can see, first of all, you know you're going to want to change that logo, and you can do that in Word. You're going to want to put in your own logo there. So you can print it to whatever your default printer is if you want to just take a look at it at this point, or you can export it, and remember there's a Help button on this panel too, so you can go to Help and it pulls up the help about producing the reports in the various formats. So I want to export the text portion of my QAPP, which is 39 pages, into an editable Word document. So I'm going to click this envelope icon that has a red arrow pointing down into it, and it pulls up a dialog box that says, okay, what format would you like to export it into? The choices are Adobe, various other choices. I don't know what some of these web page formats might look like. Some of the tables actually are really good if you export them into Excel. I like exporting them into Excel, especially the data validation criteria and the QC check requirements. If you want to edit it, the best bet is Microsoft Word Editable, rich text format. So I click that. I say disk file. That just means it's saved to your hard drive somewhere, and you say OK. And then which pages? All of them. OK. And the default location is My Documents, and that's fine in this case. But let's actually make it a little easier and put it on the desktop. So, you could change the name if you want to. You could say QAPP draft and today's date, because obviously you're only 25% of the way through, but you just want to see it at this point and change that logo or just take a look at it. So you say save, and it exports it. And then you can go to your desktop or wherever it was that you saved it and open it up. And if its extension is RTF, it opens it up in Word, and then you can replace the logo or any other editing that you want to do. Now make sure if you go back into QAPP that if you do editing for the text that you do the editing in Word, that you copy it back into QAPP so that it gets included. And I recommend that you wait till the end to do things like changing the logo. Just to show you how it looks for example, the critical criteria, you can just again print it or export it, for example, into Excel. And say OK. And I want all the pages on the desktop. And it saves it with the name D1B, which corresponds to the letter formatting of the different elements of a QAPP. So I'm just going to change it to table 14-1, and that way I'll know a little bit better what it is. Now I open up my desktop and I find it, and it opens up in Excel. And so here's your critical criteria table, including battery voltage, which is the row that we added in when we edited that table. So when you finish taking a look at this, just make sure that if you do editing in Excel or Word or something like that, it's best to leave that till the end, or else you have to make sure that you copy it back into the QAPP panel, or else it won't appear next time you export your report or your table. So to get out of this panel, you just click the X and it just takes you back to where you were in QAPP. So that's how to produce a report, either just printing it out or exporting it into Word or Excel.